All right, everyone, welcome to this week's Death and Music, Ep.03, I believe it is. I have with me Ellie.
How's it going, people?
So, Ellie, you've been living in Bowie world like me for the past few days?
Oh, yeah, man. Familiar with the guy's music, but not familiar with a bunch of weird shit I found out about him. And some pretty cool shit, too.
Yes, okay. So I guess let's just start playing the hits. David Bowie was born in 8th of January 1947, and already a quick aside about that, and I know you'll like this, Ellie, is that he has the same birthday as the King. He has the same birthday as Elvis. They were both born on January 8th.
God damn it.
So David Bowie was born in Brixton, London, England. So I guess Brixton is like a suburb of London, England. It's kind of like an LA-style suburb. It's known to be slightly ghetto.
In 47, huh?
1947, which makes him age 69, and like only Bowie, right, would die at age 69.
It's like a madman.
Yeah,
goddamn savage.
It seemed like a purposeful move. Like, I'm 69, I can die now. I'm relatively sure he held out.
Bet you saw a lot of 69s.
Yeah, with men and women alike. So he died of liver cancer. I'm going to save this for later in the show. But if you believe he died... Okay, I know it's a cliche on all of these episodes to go...
That he wasn't abducted by aliens?
He was probably abducted by aliens. I mean, there's that fucking...
Telling you, man.
Yeah, he has that movie, Man Who Fell to Earth, and he acts like an alien from a distant planet a little too naturally. He's got... What is it? The Spiders from Mars with Ziggy Stardust, which is all about an alien coming to Earth to be like a savior, or some kind of rock star alien.
It's kind of weird, right? Both him and Prince have this whole alien agenda.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think their shit got to their head, dude.
They just went crazy a little bit.
Yeah, they just started to believe it's like I really am the savior of music.
But I mean, yeah, they both contributed like a whole lot to their own niche of fans.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, David Bowie contributed to fucking everything. I appreciate him for being experimental. It's crazy because Bowie is seems to be not necessarily a trend follower, but a trendsetter.
Trendsetter, correct?
Yeah, I was talking to Liz earlier about a lot of these UK bands try to sound like Americans, and Bowie, although he's inspired by that type of music and takes influence from it, he doesn't seem to have the American accent when he sings. He sounds distinctly European. And I don't know. I give him credit for being his own man. No one's quite like David Bowie. He's incredibly unique.
Oh no.
Yeah.
He was he was a unique individual because sometimes he symbolizes a man and sometimes he symbolizes an otherworldly figure. Yeah,
for sure. He does that really well. So one of those things is that he takes on a different persona on every album, and this touches on what Mazzy is saying, that the Thin White Duke was the best Bowie era, and that's when he's going around as the Thin White Duke with his nice, neat little black vest and white shirt. During the Thin White Duke, he was saying some really weird shit about fascism and Hitler. I think it was satirical. But he said he blames it on cocaine, and this is a time where he was starting to...
Cocaine-fueled era?
Yeah, well, Bowie went through 2 decades of being cocaine-fueled. Some more than others.
But yeah, that's... it's either hugely creative or hugely self-destructive.
Oh, yeah. And, Bowie's this dichotomy, man, because, off stage, he seems to lack energy. He just seems to be like a normal bloke. And he's very, very soft-spoken and almost shy-seeming. And he's got a sense of humor about him and stuff. But he especially during his drug era, he was kind of a recluse. And yet somehow he's this superstar all at the same time.
One of those characters who's just... I don't know, man, just weird. Just weird. I'm reading the shit that I've looked up, and he's just a weird character.
Oh, he's a weird guy, dude. I really like that whole... Yeah, he was spouting Nazi shit and so drugged up it was probably true. Yeah, it was probably his real voice, dude. That was his real voice coming out because he was so high. But I don't know, maybe...
Drunks and cokeheads say the truth.
That's very true. Also, there's this. I mean, he was the Thin White Duke, right? So that almost sounds like some kind of like white power shit. I don't know. But so yeah, he was born in Brixton. David Bowie is not his real name. His real name is David Robert Jones.
David Robert Jones.
Yeah, and he changed that because he didn't want. Part of it's because he didn't want to be confused with Davy Jones of the Monkees.
Of the Monkees, correct? Yeah, just another Davy Jones.
Yeah, and to take that further, he said on Conan, he actually first changed his name to Tom Jones, and then Tom Jones cut an album like immediately after he did it, so he had to change his name yet again.
And I was also reading that he didn't even know how to pronounce David Bowie.
So I bet he was saying it wrong for a while. It's like, I'm David Bowie.
Yeah.
I'm David Bowie.
Yeah. He changed his name twice from Tom Jones, and then Davy Jones.
Davy Jones Locker.
Yeah, it's when Not Unusual dropped. That's when he had to change that shit.
That's pretty funny, dude. Man, to have Tom Jones step in on your territory like that. David Bauhaus. All right, so as a child, let's see, remarked to have an adequate voice, above average at recorder, and was a child dance prodigy. So he was already just excelling at the arts from an early age. Inspired by Little Richard, Fats Domino, Elvis Presley, and being inspired by some soul at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and another fact is, upon listening to Little Richard's song Tutti Frutti, Bowie later said that he heard God. That was in one of his biographies. There's two biographies that are pretty big about him. And I don't know, I like Little Richard a lot, but I don't know if I would say that Tutti Frutti is the voice of God.
You know, that's pretty much, I guess because I haven't delved into his music that much, but I don't know any other Little Richard other than that and maybe one or two other songs.
Yeah, that's true. As I explore his catalog, it's like how much is really out there. But Little Richard is the shit, dude. That guy puts a lot of effort into his goddamn shows. Have you seen him now? He looks like he's about to fall apart.
Yeah, it looks like the makeup is just holding his face together.
Yeah. I mean, black don't crack up until you get to 80, and then it just falls apart.
It's just a decaying pottery. He went to school with Peter Frampton.
Yeah, dude, he was childhood friends with Peter Frampton. That's something I learned. That's bad.
Fucking childhood friends type shit, yeah?
Yeah, to the point where he played in a bunch of his shows with him when he was an adult. Peter Frampton got around with Bowie. It's so crazy that those two guys, in a way, came up together.
Yeah, and Peter Frampton has one of my favorite songs of all time. "Show Me the Way." That's one of my favorite fucking songs of all time.
Dude, that's a classic, dude. That song touches me to this day for some reason. There's something very emotional about that song.
I like the ska version by the Blue Beaters.
Oh yeah, ska version by the Blue Beaters.
That's a good version. Yeah, the singer I can't pronounce his name that well. He's Italian, but the backing band is the Blue Beaters. So just look up "Show Me the Way," the Blue Beaters.
Show Me the Way, the Blue Beaters. All right, cool. I'll check that out. All right, let's see. And getting back to his childhood era, so if you look in the picture behind us, you can see this pretty prominently that David Bowie has one fucked up pupil.
Correct.
Yeah, because his mate, when he was in technical school or something, socked him in the eye, and he had to have surgery for it. He socked him in the eye so bad, and it was in a fight over a girl. And
it was over some chick, and it permanently fucked up his eye. It dilated it permanently.
Okay, but you say fucked up, but one man's trash, because that shit gave Bowie this really distinctive look, to the point where a lot of people claimed he had two different colored eyes, but really it's just he had one fucked up eye.
One janky eye and one normal.
Yeah, exactly. And then it ruined his depth perception for life.
Yeah, so, I mean, it made that signature Bowie look, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things that came to define him. Speaking of signature Bowie look, what I'm going to say I hope doesn't come off as controversial as it sounds in my head, but I feel like David Bowie is the least cool person in the world who became the biggest, one of the biggest pop and rock stars of all time. He has everything against him. He's pale and white and lanky and goes around looking like a ginger much of the time, and he's always playing dress up. And his music is like not marketable. It's like it's not as melodic as the rest of the music in the market, and it's very cerebral. He writes a lot of cerebral lyrical lines, which usually don't sell well. You know, usually people just want simple pop.
His music was way ahead of its time.
Oh,
though.
for sure, absolutely. Because he's been known to basically do things before other genres do them. You know,
right?
Like electronica and like punk, and then like just like he released an album that's influenced by hip hop, and like he's very on the cutting edge of what's new in music. I feel like if he was still making albums today, he'd probably be doing trap inspired music.
Imagine that shit on Xanax.
Yeah, on Xannies, dude. I would really want to hear the Bowie trap album. By the way, I'm just gonna say.
Well, either way, the guy who punched him in the fucking eye did a lot of his artwork for some of his early albums, so that's pretty badass.
Yeah, they remained friends, and it's funny though because that's how guys are, dude. Like, if my best friend punched me in the eye and I had to have surgery over it, at the end of the day, I'd be like, we got into a heated thing. It's no big deal.
Punch you in the eye, Robert.
Yeah, but you know what? Friends have done some shit to me, and I've forgiven it. So, shit happens.
You're a better man.
Oh, sweet. Zero apple, bad apple, slow, cool, and commanderoo. Welcome to the thing. So David Bowie was a talented actor, and that's like kind of a given because David Bowie was a talented everything. He was a talented dancer, talented actor, talented singer. He has acting chops. He won one of the Grammys he won was for a music video. And if you watch that music video is like going on 30 minutes long. It's a production. It's not your typical MTV 5-minute affair. You know, it's a little more like Thriller, but if Thriller was like twice as long. And so
what came first, Thriller or what song are we talking about?
I believe it's called Billy Blue Jean. And I think it came out. It's like watching a small TV show, and the music video part of it is literally like only 3 or 4 minutes long. And David Bowie plays a guy who's trying to date a girl. I think it's just Blue Jean. I think you're right, Mazzy. I only heard it today. It's just Blue Jean. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's just Blue Jean, bro.
Dude, you know what? It's been a long day. But the point of it is that like he plays him trying to get a girl on a date by going to see a pop idol who is also played by David Bowie, and he plays two totally different characters who act very different from each other, and he's got like comedy acting chops, and you realize he's actually a really, really talented actor, and it makes sense why he won the Grammy for that music video that year. It's a really good music video.
Okay, I'll check that one.
I say check it out. I would show it here, but it's 30 fucking minutes long. Take up the whole show. Yeah. So some other notable things he acted in, Labyrinth, which I believe is by Jim Henson, right?
Oh, Labyrinth's the shit, man.
Yeah, Labyrinth is great. Like when the clock strikes 13 and that girl gets to go visit David Bowie in his package. It's a good movie. We could all learn something from Labyrinth, which is that David Bowie has a huge wang.
He's packing
heat, man. That's when I finally figured that out. I wasn't ready for that as a kid.
Just huge moose knuckle.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty prominent. And then so Elephant Man portrayals. I have that written down. He played the Elephant Man like 150 times in a theater production.
Theater production, correct? Yeah.
That's some shit I didn't know, dude. And he's praised as being one of the best. David Bowie's package has a credit in the movie, but he's praised as being one of the best Elephant Mans in the production period in theater. He did it so well. So the man is a multi-talent.
Going back to Bowie's package, he named it the Lance of Love.
Really? Well, yeah. Technically that's what it is. It sounds a little sharper than I'd like, but. Lance of Love.
The Lance of Love.
Sounds like a good name for a song. And so, just one more thing. He played Nikolai Tesla in the fucking Prestige.
According to Nolan, he never wanted anybody else but Bowie to play Tesla.
I would be too. I'd go through hell on earth to get Bowie in my production of anything. At the age of 15, he told his mom and dad he was going to be a rock star. He just like told them to their face, I'm going to be a rock star. That's the career I chose. And his mom supported it. His mom was like really, really supportive of his music career. She basically took him out of school and put him to work.
And then 2 years later, he was interviewed on BBC's program, The Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Long-Haired Men.
Oh yeah, that's so right.
Like, at a young age, he started like making his rounds. You know.
Yeah, he's doing like troll videos basically at that age, dude. Like fucking Bowie, man. Yeah, so he's part of like 3 or 4 bands. One of them was like a jazz trio or quartet. The King Bees, the Conrads, playing weddings. Yeah, and he felt
Davy
he was
Jones and the King Bees or something like that.
Yeah, some shit like that, and he was basically the only one who was taking any of it seriously. You know, he's one of those musicians who's gonna always be taking it more serious than the people around him. It shows.
Yeah.
So yeah, he learned mime and professional theater from Lindsay Kemp, and apparently that paid off because he became he was in several movies. He became a huge star as an actor, so that seemed to work. He was the Elephant Man.
Yeah.
He got married in 1969. Had a short-lived thing with was it a model? Do you know who his first wife was? Angela Barnett.
He almost missed his wedding for a threesome, from what I heard.
That's probably with Mick Jagger.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. You know that she had bought the television rights to the Black Widow and Daredevil?
Who? Her?
Yeah.
His wife? Oh, really?
His first wife, Angela, yeah. She was even, there's like pictures of her as the Black Widow from back in the day, like, just pictures though.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's awesome.
So, she told the newspaper that the night before their wedding, it was a mutual friend of theirs. They went out for dinner back to her place and had plenty of lively sex. They didn't go to bed until 3 or 4 in the morning. Woke up late somewhere north of London and had to be in Bromley, I guess another part, at 10 a.m. to get married.
Wow.
They got there just in time, staggering in. Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, that's a very Bowie-esque story.
Yeah.
So, you know, I missed something here because somehow I missed the whole breakout with Space Oddity. That happens around here because that's around 69.
That is 1969's release, yeah. Also released as a Space Oddity.
Yeah. First he released it as David Bowie, and Space Oddity did so well that they re-released it again as Space Oddity just to ride to ride the success of that single. All right, so yeah, Space Oddity. Space Oddity is the shit. He put that out right before the moon landing. Like,
yeah.
I had always known about the song, but I didn't know it was synchronized so well with that moon landing. And you could imagine why that would be such a huge hit, considering like the loneliness of the first pioneers of space, or some of the first pioneers of space going up there.
You know, do you know what the first music video recorded in space is?
No.
Space Oddity.
Really?
Yeah, it was Commander Chris Hadfield recorded a cover of Space Oddity in space, making it the first music video ever recorded in space.
Oh, man, how fitting! How fitting! That makes perfect sense. Thematically, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what else is good in Space Odyssey? What else is in there in that?
I mean, you can't put aside The Man Who Sold the World.
Oh yeah, dude. That's that whole other album, right?
Oh yeah. If we're going in like chronological order of his albums.
Yeah, there's Man Who Sold the World, which that's a more or less dedicated and inspired by his half brother who introduced him to music. His half brother Terry, who had a lot of mental illness, fought schizophrenia, paranoia, and delusion. And that's the theme of the album, which is.
But don't we all?
Yeah, we all fight mental illness of some kind.
Yeah.
But it sounds like his half brother and his half brother introduced him to a lot of music. They were very close.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, so let's get to some more meaty stuff. You got to talk about Spiders from Mars and Ziggy Stardust. I think this is about when David Bowie gets really serious about his like persona work, right? Because I mean he's still playing around with personas on every album though, I think, right? Like he changes his look and style every album. Oh yeah, Ziggy Stardust. Well, definitely for one of my favorite tracks from Bowie period is Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah, it's a good fucking song.
Yeah, and the whole kind of history that goes with that album, you know, Ziggy Stardust is kind of it's his alter ego, of course, but it's his alter ego of this person in this fictional world who is this perfect pop idol, which some people say that he was inspired by trying to come up with a fusion of Lou Reed and Iggy Pop, like, you know, two musicians he had history with and really respected, and he said between them, if they had created Ziggy Stardust, they'd create this ultimate idol, and it kind of shows in the style.
Yeah, because it's like Iggy Pop and Vince Taylor and all these people that he kind of admired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so there's that rumor that inspired it.
Yeah, but Ziggy Stardust is also kind of like isn't he like an alien rock star?
He's an alien rock star messiah because the world, like one of the first tracks in that album,
like gay, right?
Oh yeah, bisexual like too, and bisexual and androgynous. I don't know why the bisexual part needs to be thrown in there. I mean, couldn't he be equally a valid savior of the planet without getting into his sexuality? I don't even know why a guy from Mars would be attracted to human females and males. What do I know? But yeah, I mean, and Ziggy Stardust is pretty perfect. I just want to, I want to mention something really quick that I think is going to be somewhat silly, but I think worth talking about. There's a conspiracy that from Ziggy Stardust, and I know how silly this all sounds, that this K West right here refers to Kanye West, okay? Which is extra retarded because Kanye West isn't born at the time of the release of Ziggy Stardust. But the first track in Ziggy Stardust is 5 years, and it's all about how the world is going to be saved in 5 years. And in like 5 years, almost exactly, guess who's born?
Kanye West.
Kanye West. And also Kanye West always cites one of his biggest influences as David Bowie, and they've created stuff together, and I don't know, he's like apprenticed under him. There's all these like rumors that they're intimately related somehow, but it sounds like bullshit. It's pretty much just bullshit, I'm pretty sure. But I just thought I would give that stupid fucking conspiracy theory honorable mention.
I mean, what does Kanye say about himself? That he's a god?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. Yeah, he's Jesus, right? So
yeah, he's Jesus while Bowie's God, right?
Yeah, so it's like he's Ziggy Stardust all over again. He's another Messiah that's going to be saving the world in 5 years. I don't know. I don't know. The lore of this is really dumb.
Well, there's a lot of freaks out there heavily inspired by Bowie, and I mean that with a lot of love.
Yeah, that's true. He's an inspiring guy, dude. He makes me want to like start putting more flash and flourish into the things I do because he did it without any fear. Like, I mean, he was going around in dresses and shit in a time where it was pretty highly frowned upon.
Yeah, but I mean, we got people like Young Thug and shit doing that nowadays too, you know?
Yeah, but it's so much less shocking, I feel like, in our era where everyone else is transgendered.
Right, no, yeah, like Bowie, but Bowie kind of got away with that shit. I mean, actually, well, kind of, right? Because he was still seen as like as a freak by many. By many,
yeah.
But he did have a huge following, and he was highly respected by other musicians.
Oh yeah. I think other musicians see what he was going for. I think they catch that like immediately. Like they see that he's trying to push the boundaries.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. So yeah, Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars. That's a great album. It's fucking priceless. Great song. Okay, so
you're talking about Dennis Rodman, Mazzy.
Oh yeah, and then he married himself, didn't he?
Yeah, but he also married Madonna and Carmen Electra. So
okay, I'll give him that.
and he's also like a North Korean diplomat now.
Yeah, dude. Fucking Kim Jong-un really likes Dennis Rodman. I can't blame him. I mean, Dennis Rodman's pretty cool. I mean, Kim Jong-un is pretty cool. One of them's cool. I don't know which one it is. Listen to some Ziggy Stardust.
We're not gonna dive into that. We're not diving into anything further into that conversation.
Well, I wish Kim Jong-un and Dennis Rodman a very happy marriage in the future. So let's see. Okay,
whatever it is they have, right?
Yeah, whatever that shit is. Getting back to Ziggy Stardust, so he's this guy who takes on alter egos and he does it every album and talks about the effect they have on him. And Ziggy Stardust, he said, became a character that was bigger than him. It was bigger than himself. And
well, because at first he's the Starman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the Starman, and then after that he becomes Ziggy Stardust, and that like really like took over his whole like kind of thing, right?
Yeah, like it took over like his persona, like it really got into him, and he said he couldn't turn it off, and it started to get to him, I guess.
Yeah. He started to live the Ziggy Stardust kind of like persona.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, so Bowie contributed vocals, keyboards, and guitar to Lou Reed's 1972 solo breakout Transformer. So this guy's working with like Lou Reed and Velvet Underground and the Stooges and Iggy Pop and shit. I just need to talk about that because it's just like what kind of collaborations are those? That's amazing, dude. Like some of the best musicians.
You said Lou Reed and who else?
Lou Reed and Iggy Pop from the Stooges.
Oh, the Stooges, yeah. Are you a Stooges fan? There's a couple songs of Iggy Pop's that I do like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's like on my top 10 list or anything. But he's got there's some okay stuff by Iggy Pop and Stooges.
Now, I respect the dude 100%, and I give him his credit and wholeheartedly respect for being who he is, a legend, you know, a living legend in the game.
So yeah, Bowie loved acting in total immersion of his characters. Keep that in mind because it might come up later. There might be a test on that.
His quick little part in fucking Zoolander almost got him an award.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in Zoolander. That's one of the ones I missed to put in there. Like an Oscar?
He was nominated for something. I'm trying to look it up right now.
I believe it. He gets nominated for all kinds of shit. You know, let's talk about nominations. He is more of a nominated Grammy artist than a winning artist. He's like a Leonardo DiCaprio where he doesn't start winning Grammys till like the fucking 90s. I mean, he won that one in the 80s for that Blue Jean video. But after that, it's like one in the 90s for Lifetime Achievement, and the rest are all for Black Star. And it's like, that's underrated for achieving Grammys.
And Black Star's like after his death, so.
I know. It's kind of sad.
It's kind of fucked. Yeah.
Oh, Life on Mars, man. This one's a classic. But so is Let's Dance.
It's my shit.
It was like this is my favorite Bowie song, and it's actually the one that performed the best in the U.S. for record sales and single sales and stuff.
I think his first one wasn't it Fame?
That was in, I think, yeah, that's the first one in the U.S. That was a number one. But I think the best-selling one I think is Let's Dance.
Oh, okay, because I know John Lennon co-wrote Fame with him.
I never knew that, dude. I never knew John Lennon had anything to do with that song. That's crazy.
It's pretty badass how he collabed. You know, reading more and more into Bowie, you see all these huge fucking names that were collabs in his music.
Yeah, if you start going into like contemporary era, it's like he's playing with like 9 Inch Nails. He did some kind of tribute concert in Madison Square Garden where he played with like Dave Grohl and like just like a bunch of contemporary artists, dude. Like he gets around, and who would say no to playing with that guy?
Oh hell no, man! It's fucking Bowie, bro.
Also, I forgot to mention that he played with Brian Eno earlier, and Brian Eno is like this like legend of like experimental electronic music and production. It's like everyone's worked with Brian Eno, and he's very talented. He's one of these behind the scenes guys that a lot of people don't know his name, but he's involved with everything. Brian Eno's the shit. Brian Eno's pretty cool.
I have no idea who that guy is.
See, that's the thing. But once you start looking into him, you'll see how many people he's worked with that you do know.
And then you're like, oh, I know all his music.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes one of those things. He has his own albums, and they're very electronica, but they're pretty good, especially for when you consider at the time they were coming out. You know, when that stuff was a little more experimental.
Okay.
And then,
but going back to the song that's playing, "Let's Dance." Yeah, you're right. It was. I was confused. Fame was his first hit in the U.S., but "Let's Dance" was his best selling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah, but yeah, you know, still gets the point across. Mm-hmm. Fame was the first one, but then "Let's Dance" was the big one, I guess. And he said there's a funny story about him breaking out in the U.S., which was that he was breaking out really hard over there in the U.K. And he got frustrated because he chart in the U.S., but he wasn't seeing the album sales he wanted to. So he decided, fuck it, I'm going to go to the United States and tour, and I'm going to force them to love my music. And he did it, and it worked.
He changed the fucking the music scape of the 70s here in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he had a big effect. I mean, he's like Michael Jackson, where you say, oh, yeah, who didn't he influence? You know what I mean?
All right, so where are we on this Bowie timeline?
Plastic Soul, the White Duke. The White Duke is another one of his characters. That's when he's got his like snazzy black vest and button-up shirt. So Plastic Soul and Thin White Duke. Oh yeah, another thing. Actually, I forgot to mention something. Because after Ziggy Stardust, he takes on another persona. He has another album. That's Aladdin Sane, and Aladdin Sane is like a punk rock dude. That's the persona of Aladdin Sane. Let me make sure I'm also recording.
That's the one with the shit on his face, huh?
Yeah, you're right. That's Aladdin Sane with the thunderbolt across his face.
Correct. Yeah.
I was wondering which one that was. Okay, so that's Aladdin Sane, and during that time, that's when he develops his like cocaine addiction, because he says that character had a penchant for like doing a bunch of drugs and acting really raunchy on stage and like being kind of a little bit of a deviant, of a punk. And so he said that character kind of got into him, and after that time, he develops a heavy addiction to cocaine, and he fought cocaine addiction for I want to say like a good decade or nearly that long.
So we left off on
David Bowie moved to LA, found LA alienating, and then David Bowie did Diamond Dogs, which is a fusion of a musical based on a post-apocalyptic city setting.
I see what you're doing, Mazzy. I see what you're doing. I like that.
1984 to music. What is Mazzy doing? I don't trust him. I just don't trust him. All right, so Tony Basil choreographed his fucking Diamond Dogs tour, dude. What the fuck is that shit? You know Tony Basil, right?
Basil, yeah.
Hey, Mickey.
Yeah.
Shit, dude. Well, yeah, that's what she's known for being a choreographer. Her one-hit wonder, it was really her mostly just choreographing it, which makes sense. It's a lot of cheerleading shit. That's why her one hit is like heavily choreographed. That's her thing.
He also started his own mime troupe, if that helps.
Oh, did he? Did he really? A mime troupe?
Yeah, they were called Feathers.
This is what I'm talking about when I say David Bowie should be like infectiously like criminally uncool, and he's not somehow. He was the first white artist on Soul Train. Like, dude, how?
I thought it was Elton John. It was Bowie.
I read in the article I read, it said he was the first white artist on Soul Train, but you might be right.
No, we're just gonna go with that.
Either that or Elton John is honorary black.
Hey, look, man, the internet doesn't lie.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. All things it says are true, even the things that conflict with each other.
I'm telling you.
Right, definitely. Your favorite album is Station to Station. According to David Bowie, Station to Station refers to the Stations of the Cross, which is some religious factoid, but he's had a very sketchy relationship with religion his whole life.
I mean, he came out in Scorsese's film The Last Temptation of Christ.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's crazy. He was Pontius Pilate, of all people.
Yeah.
Bowie put Jesus to death in that movie. God damn.
So it goes back to him being like such a fucking talented person, right? On screen, on the mic, everything.
Oh yeah, he's straight out a talent at everything. He was also a good painter. He wrote poetry. He was an expert dancer, like classical ballet style dancing. He knew how to mime. I don't know. I don't want to know how to mime, but he did. He did. So it's like he was so white, he got soul. Yeah, he like rolled all the way back around. It's pretty true. So
he washed his hands.
And then okay, so another little factoid here is that David Bowie had a lot of trouble for a long time making money off of his music. A lot of people who knew him intimately were known to say he lived like a pauper. And he was heavily into Buddhism in general, so maybe it's just about, not having, not being really into material things, possibly.
Kind of like a minimalist.
Yeah, kind of like a minimalist. He kind of lived like a pauper, but also going into that was the fact that his manager had written some really abusive contracts that granted him the majority of the rights to his work and royalties for a long time. The contracts were so generous that he basically lost the money to almost all of his music, and he had to fire that manager and make his lawyer in his lawsuits his manager. And David Bowie pretty much lost the majority of the rights to his music at some point. And
which here's a pretty shameless promo. We don't do that.
yeah, that's true. That's true. I just approached someone about music rights, and I told them, hey, you keep all your rights, dude. I'll just promote you, and we'll split the royalties. I'm not gonna. And our contract says you keep the rights, and you have total veto power.
We're not businessmen. We're fucking musicians.
Exactly.
So Tsunami Studios.
Guys.
Just out there,
SSTsunami.com. You'll see some shit there soon. It's coming up.
Marketing and all kind of shit. So
yeah, we do promotion. So if you need promoting of your band, let us know.
Everything that comes of it. Back to the show.
Yeah, for sure. Moving right along. Bowie had a tremendous cocaine addiction. I know I already said that, but Bowie had a tremendous cocaine addiction. When
he recorded Station to Station, which is one of Mazzy's favorite album, it is considered his one of his best ever released in '76. He how would I say it? He contributes to the success because he was blitzed out of his mind on coke during the recording of that album.
It's crazy, man. Dude. If you can catch some like interviews by David Cavett or whomever from the 60s or the 70s, where he's interviewing Bowie during his coke phase, and the guy is barely coherent, dude. He's answering questions, but he's not answering the questions they're asking. He's such a character, dude. I almost suspect I'm one of these people, actually, who has a really love-hate relationship with attention, where I want to be up there performing in front of people, but the minute I'm doing it, my heart's about to explode. And David Bowie strikes me as one of those people. And there were people who came out and said he anesthetized himself to be able to perform with cocaine. But that might just be a dependency thing.
Yeah, it's I can't play unless I'm drunk or unless I'm high or unless I'm coked the fuck out. You hear that from a lot of comedians too, the coke, that coke helped them. They thought it was their main help in comedy.
Yeah.
I think most of the time it's just you're suppressing some type of shit that kind of stops you from letting you be out there.
Yeah. This is. But, this artist breaks the trend of the last 3 episodes we did, because it's first of all, first non-black artist.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Second of all,
hey, but he's got enough soul to almost be black.
He's honorary black. But the second thing is he doesn't seem to have the hard tortured life. I mean, maybe he does. He seems to. He seems to with the way he acts with drugs, but it almost seems.
But it was more mental instability that.
Yeah.
It was the torture in his own his own mental like struggle, you know.
Yeah, it's like some level of mental illness.
Right. We had Aretha, Prince, and Michael. I'm not really sure about Prince, but Aretha and Michael were pretty much like, you know, beat by somebody that was in their lives, either a parent or a fucking significant other. So Bowie, I think it was like he beat himself. You know, mental instability and shit.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, he seemed like a really shy guy early on in his life when he would do interviews. He seemed like, and then he was known for not having a ton of friends and like isolating himself away from people, and and yet somehow on stage was completely the opposite of that. It's like such a dichotomy that I didn't expect. I expected he was like the same larger than life character off stage, which to some degree is still true, but you know, the characters almost end off stage.
Well, like throughout his whole recording of Station to Station, going back to that album, he was pretty much in a near psychosis, surrounding himself with only ancient Egyptian artifacts, and just like ranting about witches trying to steal his semen.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. I forgot about that.
He was pretty much only on coke, and he only ate peppers and drank cold milk, which pretty much almost killed him because he went down to like 100 pounds.
Dude, what the hell? That's crazy. Yeah, he grappled with some mental illness for sure, dude. There's something going on there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, you know, cocaine's a hell of a drug, man.
Oh, obviously, yeah. So, everyone out there, if you could get me some, you know what you got to do.
I'll tell you the best fucking interview of all time of somebody fucked up on drugs is James Brown.
Oh, really?
Talking.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. James Brown fucked up after he had just got out of jail for something.
On $15,000 bond, he joins us for
I know, man.
Atlanta to discuss the charges.
No one sober
and we
wears glasses
welcome
like
you,
that.
James Brown. How did all of this trouble begin?
Living in America. Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong at all. You're not in any difficulty, but you're out on bond.
No, I'm not.
Have all the charges been dropped?
Yeah, I'm out on love.
Well, are you out on love or out of love? Which is it?
Out on love. Alone from night to night, you find me.
Now, James, this isn't the first time you and your wife have had a problem. Are the two of you going to be able to work this out?
Let's talk about some music.
You want to talk about music, and you don't want to talk about what happened?
No, it's all over.
Well, let's talk about your tour. When are you leaving?
We're leaving tomorrow.
And where are you going?
Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Now, your fans will have read all about this, James. Aren't you concerned about that?
No, Dagestan. I'm concerned because there's nothing wrong.
And what are you going to say to your fans when they ask you some questions about it?
I'm going to say I feel good. Papa's got a brand new bag. It's a man's world.
Yes. Second time we've heard that in 2 days. That's very interesting. Now, don't leave us, James. You stay right there. We have to talk about.
Do the splits.
Well,
do the
tell us
splits.
a little bit about what you're going to be doing on this tour.
Huh? What'd you say?
What are you going to be doing on this tour?
I'm going to be doing Papa's got a brand new bag, living in America. Sex machine, get up off of that thing. I feel good. Jam.
Now, I understand that you have already... James, I have to ask you one serious question here. I understand you already have started divorce proceedings. Does that mean that you're now eligible?
No, yes, I'm eligible. I'm singing. I want to mingle.
You want to mingle?
Yes.
Now, the women love you when you get out there. Why do you think that is?
What'd you say?
The women love you when you get out there.
Why is that, ladies?
Well, I'm asking you.
Huh? Because
Why
I
do you
look
think
good.
that is? You
I
look
smell good. I
Yes.
feel good.
And you sing good.
And make love good.
Well, there we are. We don't have to ask anybody else. We got that from the source. There you are.
That's the most coked up man in show business.
Rest in peace, James Brown.
Oh man, there's an episode on that motherfucker coming soon.
Oh yeah.
That's
That's
damn sure.
That's some gold right there. We could do a split between two famous cocaine motherfuckers. A little James Brown and a little Rick James.
Yeah, that's good. Or a little like James Brown and a little bit of Bobby Brown. Oh, but Bobby Brown's still alive. Wait, is Rick James still alive?
Rick James died a long time ago.
Oh, God. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, why would I think Rick James was still alive?
You know, it seems that like off of heroin you live forever. Off of cocaine, it comes back and bites you in the ass.
Yeah, because you know what? One speeds you up and one slows you way down. You know what I mean? So
That's what it is, huh?
I think so. So, okay, getting back to Bowie. All right, so let's move on to his next album. He comes out with an album, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Unless I've skipped an album, I may have. And he produced the #1 hit from that, Ashes to Ashes. And Ashes to Ashes mentions Major Tom again. It's all about Major Tom already.
Well, you did, just real quick, you skipped Heroes, which I only really like the song Heroes.
You know what? Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a good song. But
really
even that isn't my favorite of his songs, though.
No, it's too slow for me. I have to be in a certain type of mood for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much it kind of shoots me back to that movie, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and how fucked up it is. That song kind of that movie kind of revitalized this song for a lot of hipsters. So there's that little kind of thing right there. But back to you said Scary Monsters and Super Creeps.
Yeah, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, and I don't have much about that album. Not the most notable album for me, except for the fact that there's a couple tracks that mention Major Tom again, like Ashes to Ashes. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that about him burning up in the atmosphere? Is that why it's called Ashes to Ashes? And then we talked about that Peter Schilling jam too. That other Major Tom song.
Yeah, because that's right. That's kind of like a response to Space Oddity, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's the thing is Major Tom comes up a few more times for Bowie too.
I know he comes on in Ashes to Ashes, and then after that in Halo Space Cowboy.
Halo Space Cowboy.
Boy? Space Boy, I think.
Space Boy.
Yes. Something like that.
So, am I missing anything good off Heroes other than Heroes? You corrected me that I missed Heroes.
Yeah, because we even skipped over Young Americans, which that song is the shit too. We went from station to station. We went from Aladdin Sane. We skipped over Pin-Ups, Diamond Dogs, Young Americans, and into station to station.
Do we skip over Diamond Dogs? Diamond Dogs is the shit.
I never listened to this album, to be honest with you.
Which one, Diamond Dogs?
Yeah, or I might have listened to a couple songs from it. I'm not really familiar with it though.
All right. Well, Diamond Dogs is a good song. Rebel, that's the other one. That's the one I wanted to mention off of Diamond Dogs. Rebel is good.
Yeah, it's a really good song.
Yeah, that's another good one. The Wallflowers made a cover of Heroes for the Godzilla 2000 soundtrack. The band The Wallflowers. What the fuck, dude?
Wow. You know, we got to do a Freddie Mercury episode, man.
Oh, yeah. Liz really has been bugging me to do the Freddie Mercury episode.
Dude, that's one of my top singers of all time. Mercury has to be either 1 or 2.
Okay, Liz is requesting that we play Under Pressure, so that's happening. Hopefully the level.
What else is this on? Or is this just a single?
Oh, Under Pressure? Yeah, it's just a single. It's one single produced by them. No album or nothing. And I think it was released under one of Queen's albums, I think. But anyway, you were saying?
Have you ever listened to Bowie's vocals in this Isolated?
No, why?
Oh, it's beautiful, man.
Yeah? I believe it. David Bowie has a fucking amazing voice, dude. And it's a lot deeper than it sounds like in most of his music. He can croon. He can go really, really low with his voice. It's crazy.
Yeah, when I first listened to when he had just passed away, I forgot what I was listening to. They were talking about his vocal track in that song, Isolated by itself. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it kind of gives you chills because you hear Bowie. But China Girl, because you got Iggy Pop on there too, you know.
Oh, dude, Iggy Pop's in China Girl? I didn't even know that. Mm-hmm. That's dope.
It's written by Iggy Pop.
Oh, it's written by Iggy Pop. Oh, that's dope, dude. Okay, then he releases Tonight. I don't really know that album, dude. Tonight. I guess I do because I know his Beach Boys God Only Knows cover, and I know Blue Jean from that video. It's jazzin' for Blue Jean, that's what it is. So wait, we haven't even mentioned fucking Mick Jagger and Dancing in the Street yet, right?
Oh, you know, you can mention that, but I got something to something on like on the underskirts of all of this to mention that. So
you're gonna talk about the relationship, right?
Well, there's a little rumor out there that that's always it's just gonna be a rumor up in the wind that in the Dancing in the Street music video you can see that him and like Bowie and Mick Jagger kind of like real intensely homoerotic towards each other.
Oh yeah, dude, they're like singing right in each other's face. They're like spitting in each other's mouths in that music video, dude.
Yeah,
they get a little too close for comfort.
Well, the legend goes that Bowie's wife Angela caught her and Jagger in bed naked together.
Yeah, I've heard that, and then she said that even on like a talk show, dude. Like, and the man's bisexual. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it for a bit. He probably got some Freddie Mercury in there too. He probably got down with Freddie Mercury too, I imagine.
Yeah, you never know, right?
Yeah.
So the legend is that Bowie's maid had got to the house like earlier, and she approached his wife and told him that someone was in bed. Someone was in her bed, and she went upstairs and like, pretty much jumped open the door, and it was Mick and David naked sleeping. Just woke up saying like, hello, how are you?
Wow. Well, it's like you said, cocaine is a hell of a drug. Let's face it.
So she, in her words, she's like, she was kind of dead certain that they'd been screwing. It was so obvious, but she never even considered the fact that they probably weren't screwing. That's how it was, like she was dead set positive that they were screwing. She never even considered that they weren't.
And I'm sure they had an open relationship. So okay,
he had a fucking 4-foot deep fur covered bed that he named a pit, just specifically for orgies, bro.
Oh my god, dude.
So I mean, and Mick Jagger used to come over and be involved. So come on,
Yeah, of course. So David Bowie was in a band called Tin Machine, and Tin Machine did not get very much critical acclaim. Tin Machine has been described by some as like white trash rock. The lyrics are preachy. David Bowie takes too strong of an influence of the band and basically is the front man because he's fucking David Bowie, and they just kind of everyone rolls over and lets him do what he wants. So
what years was this?
This is 1989 to 1991.
The Hype was another one of his bands that just got booed off of every stage they played.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's earlier in his career. There's The Hype. They dressed up like superheroes, and people hated them. And then it just didn't work for them. When David Bowie is getting booed for dressing too ostentatiously, something's wrong. Something has gone horribly awry.
Things have just gone fucked up. That's what that means. All right, so you were talking about
Tin Machine.
I just wanted to put that out there that his bands were not really like as popular with audiences as he was as a solo artist. I mean, he was in 10 different bands in his career.
Yeah, and I guarantee you he was the best one in all of them.
Yeah, because I mean, let's name them down and you tell me which ones you've heard that, like, you've actually heard. So we go with the Conrads.
No, because that's the really early one. So no, definitely not.
The Hooker Brothers.
Nope.
The King Bees.
King Bees. I've heard of them, but only in like, hey, this is this band David Bowie put to shame and left.
The Managed Boys.
Nope.
The Lower Third.
Oh, the Lower Third. That's his jazz group. Yeah, which I think they have a good name, but that didn't go anywhere. It's jazz. Come on.
The Buzz.
Nope. Okay, so there's a theme here emerging with the King Bees and the Buzz. I just want to point that out.
I think he should have just stopped using the word "the."
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's his problem. Well, then Tin Machine came out. It's not the Tin Machine. He was learning. He's figuring it out.
Well, this is afterwards, because then there's like I said, the Buzz, and then there's the Riot Squad. Then it's the Hype, which we just spoke about how terrible that was. And then we get into Tin Machine.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's heard Tin Machine, dude. Does anyone go home and bust in a Tin Machine album? Have you heard of Tin Machine before you studied Bowie? Because I hadn't. I hadn't. So yeah, there's Tin Machine. Well, okay, then he gets married to his second wife. Starts having he fell in love with that woman, and he was with her till the day he died, or faked his death.
With who?
Iman, Somali supermodel.
The model, yeah.
He appeared at a Freddie Mercury tribute concert when he died in the 90s. What else happened?
He was
Tin Machine for life.
He was an integral part of the Metal Gear Solid universe.
Was he? In what way?
Mm-hmm.
I love Metal Gear Solid. There's something I'm missing. Changed
the way he looks so much that throughout his career, he's inadvertently styled himself to look like every character in the video game Metal Gear Solid.
At some point, he looks like Snake, then some other guy. So they're modeled after him. Like,
well, check it out
in the game.
As it turns out, this is no accident, and Bowie is a key part of the Metal Gear universe, with key characters and plot points being named after his various alter egos and songs.
Oh wow!
As it wasn't enough, the character Raiden was described as looking exactly like David Bowie in the novelization of Metal Gear Solid 2, while another character called the Fury quotes Bowie as he flies into space and explodes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's freaking amazing. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, the boss looks like, I don't know who that is. Is Ziggy Stardust? Yeah, dude, that's Revolver Ocelot. Yeah, dude, they all look like Bowie. All the characters look like Bowie. That's pretty amazing.
I was just talking about great musicians with Chicken yesterday, and we were talking about today's episode about David Bowie, and we were talking about his favorite musicians, and Kurt Cobain came up, and as you know, during the MTV Unplugged for Nirvana, he covered The Man Who Sold the World.
And made that shit his own, which, when you take a song from Bowie, you must be good.
Well, as we were talking about with Chicken, it's The Man Who Sold the World, Bowie's version, was way ahead of its time, and I think that's why it never gained as much traction as it should have, as much as it did with Nirvana.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, you hear Bowie's version, and it's got like fucking like an auto-tune sounding on his voice, and it's real psychedelic kind of like if you're stuck in, I don't know, for me personally, it's kind of like you're stuck in a trance when you listen to that song. Unfortunately, the first version of that song I ever heard was the Nirvana's Unplugged version. But he does mention David Bowie, so I looked it up, and as a kid, I'm like, damn, this is weird. I like Nirvana's version better.
Yeah,
I get older, appreciating music more, and then you listen to Bowie's version, and I at least got the same goosebumps I kind of got with Kurt's.
I totally agree. I think that there was a time I liked the David Bowie version better, but I kind of like that Cobain speeds it up. He makes it a little grittier. Like, the song almost wants to be that way. Like, it's one of those songs that a person really owned. So it's hard. It's almost hard to say who wore it better. Yeah, both versions are good. Yeah, for sure, Liz.
His but Kurt. I don't know. I guess I love Kurt Cobain so much that his version just had a different impact on me. I guess because I grew up listening to that version and going through those middle school years, that Unplugged just meant so much.
Oh yeah, for sure. On his 50th birthday, he played a concert at Madison Square Garden with Lou Reed, Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters, Robert Smith from The Cure, Billy Corgan and the Smashing Pumpkins, Black Francis of the Pixies, and Sonic Youth. Like, that's a fucking concert, dude.
That's a grunge concert, man.
Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, well, he's always playing with like musicians from the time. I noticed he was always evolving. His constant was change. I mean, that song Changes is about him, I think. Like how you can't pin him down. Oh, that song's the best.
And Liz, yes, we will do a Kurt Cobain one. I think we really owe it to the grunge era to do a whole grunge themed.
David Bowie did a song for the Rugrats movie. Just gonna throw that out there. Just drop that bomb. And also, David Bowie was celebrity bonded, where you could invest in asset securities of all of David Bowie's music rights, and it was actually had a rating by like the Securities Commission. Everyone, the fact that David Bowie is in fact not dead.
Oh yeah, please, let's
you want to see that?
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So mute this. So I just want to point out to you guys that this fucking interview happened like the day Bowie's death was announced on Sky News in the UK. Okay, so let me...
of Fortune Music.
It's actually Fortress Music.
Fortress Music.
I was talking about Chris Cornell.
Fortress Music, and worked as in the music industry as an executive.
Oh yeah, Chris Cornell
and also Bowie's fashion sense. We're going to talk about
guy from Linkin Park.
Well, it's influenced the era. And Lizzie Zeta, fashion stylist, is with. Welcome to you both. Apologies again,
no
Jack.
Problem.
Okay, so like the day of or the day after David Bowie dies of cancer.
When you heard this,
I was just saying earlier,
this nobody producer comes out to talk about him on Sky News.
I have to say that's how much an influence he is, I think, to me and to
am I the only one who thinks this looks exactly like David Bowie?
And strangely, I'm surprised. I sort of literally.
He sounds like him.
I know. I said that too when I first heard this.
And sadly, this one's affected.
So there's a conspiracy that he's not dead, and that it was his means to retire.
He was probably the first.
So this guy goes on to talk about David Bowie,
where he was,
and he's just supposed to be some no-name record producer, right? But he basically goes on to say every little fucking thing about Bowie, like he really knows him and like he's speaking for him, and I don't know. He's got his eye fixed. What? Oh, you know what? That's a good check. Check his pupils. That's true, because one of his pupils
fashion
is even. But there's a little thing called contacts, Mazzy.
Contacts,
okay?
yeah.
Come on, dude. David Bowie's no amateur to dressing up. That's not his first rodeo, okay?
We saw how mental illness kind of played a big part in his life.
Yeah.
His alter egos would take over, so...
Exactly.
What if David Bowie? Because I mean, that's not his real name, right? In other words, David Bowie has just been an alter ego that lived.
Right.
So what if just David Bowie died and
his new character? I forgot the guy's name. It's like Jack something, but he proliferated as this new character now, who's in retirement basically, who's just a guy who works behind the scenes in the music industry.
I mean, you never know. I mean, he wasn't a genius, so maybe this guy is just gonna be his like you said, it's just his retirement. out of
all the personalities, boring record producer one. Yeah, dude, but I think it fits because maybe he wanted to retire without everyone making a big deal. There's some other suspicious things. The cremation that happened, no one was allowed to view it. There was no memorial service, and family members said, oh, it's because he wouldn't have wanted one. But his first wife said, oh, I think he's done she said this on like a UK interview show. I think he's done a very good job of fooling people that he's dead. Like, and this is a person who was married to him. So maybe I trust what she says. And in Black Star, there's a song called Lazarus, and of course, Lazarus is about someone being resurrected. So maybe he didn't die. Maybe it's all a scam. But I don't really believe it. I just love entertaining stupid fucking bullshit conspiracy theories. I can't help myself.
He got on the mothership and just went back home.
That is the most likely explanation. David Bowie is definitely some kind of fucking alien. He was a citizen of the world. He lived in London, New York, L.A., Switzerland.
He also banged Slash's mom. Guns N' Roses Slash's mom.
Wait, seriously?
She worked for Bowie as a costume designer in like the 70s, early 70s, and he was about 8 years old, and he said that he caught them naked one time.
Holy crap.
So, he touched a lot of lives, man.
Yeah, so to speak. He touched a lot of something. He got around. Oh, another thing.
Damn, Mazzy, we don't talk about Elvis. Oh, I guess that's kind of a negative way, right?
They have the same birthday again. That's him.
It's a big orgy of Prince, Elvis, and Bowie up there right now.
I can see that orgy. I can really see it in my mind's eye.
You really want to see it? That's why. I really
want to see it. Oh, and Bowie had a songwriting competition for a a video game, and he submitted one of his songs, and he did not win. Someone else beat him. So I just wanted to... He threw the song competition, entered his own song, and did not win. Just want to point that out. Oh, one more thing. He was one of the first artists to embrace digital distribution. People say he was actually the first artist because he released a single in 1996, Telling Lies. It took 11 minutes to download on a modem at that time. And he also was his own internet service provider for a time where you could connect to the internet through Bowie Net, which was its own intranet and internet, all based on Bowie. So that's a guy who's really fucking ahead of the times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but what else you got, Ellie?
There's just some negative stuff out there that.
Well, then we gotta hear it. We're here for hot goss, dude. You know that.
Well, it was kind of known at the time, but it kind of made its way with the whole Me Too movement. They kind of try to bring this out after his death, which kind of like, you know, you can't really tarnish his character anymore because he's gone and he is who he is. But it was said that I'm not sure how so we're just gonna go allegedly. He de-virginized a 15-year-old girl back in the early 70s. And it was while he was here in California, so age of consent here is 18 years old, even at that time.
I like to call that polling a 6'9".
This shit, you know. So a lot of people didn't really know about this incident. So it's kind of something that people put up there. Like I said, I don't know if that's a true thing or not.
Right.
But you know, they kind of go into to name a bunch of other artists who have done the same stuff. So I don't know how true it is. It seems to be just like one isolated case. Mm-hmm. I don't see anything else about it. I see a lot more of I think Tina Turner either sucking him off or fucking. I really don't know what happened there. So
he gets around. He's like Prince. He's an androgynous ladies' man who puts his dick in everything, right? That's David Bowie, right?
I mean, you know, he's a man of many talents.
Oh yeah.
I don't condone any of that if it is true though. So, because I mean, it says that it was in 73. He was born in 47, so that puts him at the age of like about 20, early 20s, I think, mid 20s.
We've all done stupid shit in our 20s.
I guess a little lighter kind of something about Bowie. I guess we can say is that he denied knighthood 2 times.
Yeah.
In 2000 and in 2003. So that's you know, that's something kind of like it's not like Sir Elton John.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Fucking love Elton John.
Yeah, Sir Elton John, Sir Paul McCartney, but not Sir David Bowie. But you know what? If anyone should have been a knight, it would have been David Bowie, dude. Fuck. I could have saw that one more than anyone.
Mm-hmm. So he declined that. So
why the fuck are they knighting musicians? And do you think?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Do you think if the Queen is threatened that like they got to call Paul McCartney and Elton John to come to her aid and protect her?
What is this, like a fucking Bill and Ted?
is that a thing that happened?
They just play their... Nah, you remember they're the saviors of the world with their music?
Oh yeah, with their music. They're the Wild Stallions.
Yeah, they changed the world and shit.
He should have made a new character to be knighted. That's a good point, Mazzy. He could have used some like old English name and everything.
Well, I think Aladdin Sane should have been knighted.
He probably would have like taken a shit on the floor of the hall and then did a line of coke and then slapped the Queen. So I don't know about that. So I mean,
respectively, a great musician,
one of the greatest, man.
Yeah.
A fucking hero. Again, a legend. I love this show because every time I research someone new, not only do I find out what their path to success was and how I can steal it, I also get the added bonus of like finding out these people were way more amazing than I ever thought they were. Should have also fucked the Queen. God fucked the Queen. So like, man, yeah, Bowie is even more legendary than you think he is. The more you look into him, again, I think the parting thing I'll say about him is that he was the full artist. He did everything. He was a ballet dancer, a painter, a poet, a singer, and an actor. And he lived art, and he lived it into the grave.
Can't forget he was a mime.
Oh, yeah, he was a mime. Also, sex. Sex is an art form. Takes a lot of work to get good at it.
Not when you got a big dong, bro.
That's true, man. I saw that shit. I saw that shit in Labyrinth.
You know, just a little bit of Viagra, if anything, just to help you stay up there a little bit longer.
Bowie didn't need no Viagra. Bowie just cast a magic spell and his dick stayed hard.
Although he wasn't a knight at the time of his death, what are we? We've had the Prince, the King of Pop, the Queen of Soul. What should we dub Bowie?
I mean, I guess he's the White Duke, right? He dubbed it himself. Or he's Ziggy Stardust. He's the goddamn savior of the universe with his magical shit. Man, I don't know. He's got so many names to go by, and we'll go with the White Duke.
The White Duke.
Yeah, he's the White Duke.
An androgynous alien rock star.
Mm-hmm. A sexy one at that. A sexy white lanky ginger man. You're gonna bring up his Nazi Duke, the fool. But yeah, what an amazing fucking man. He got to say goodbye to his fans in Black Star. His last album was amazing.
No, I mean Liz. He's the star man.
He's the star man.
Starman of rock and roll. Rest in peace, David Bowie.
He went back to Mars, and I think maybe we'll see him again one day once he admits he faked his death.
Yeah, if he ever does. What was the guy's name again?
Oh shit! Let me find it out. He's Jack Steven, and if you look at old pictures of Jack Steven, because he is a real record producer, he doesn't look like that. He looks a little off. So there's this conspiracy theory that he's Bowie, and
he looks like if Bowie got hit in the face with a shovel, bro.
But see, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I feel like to look like the man in this interview, he'd have to have had some cosmetic surgery.
He got a little bit, he gained some weight. Got hit in the face with a shovel real quick, and yeah, he does sound like Bowie too.
He sounds like him, yeah. So, if you're out there, Bowie, come back to us, Come back and drop another album when you get bored of the retired life.
Of the shit.
Oh yeah, next episode, Conspiracy Theory on Dead Artist. I wanted to do it this week's Death in Music on Paul McCartney.
That's right.
On the
next
stupid
week,
fucking conspiracy. So
we got a couple.
Did you have something planned for next week? Did you have a good one? Do we get requests?
We could do a mashup about a couple things, but I think we could next episode, Conspiracy Theory on Dead Artists. All right.
Yeah,
we could do something like that.
Paul McCartney. The Paul McCartney one would be hilarious. Or we could do Sam Cooke. We could do the conspiracy theories revolving Sam Cooke and his death.
Well, we'll put 3 or 4 names in a hat, and we'll pick the 2 most compelling conspiracy theories out there. We'll share that on all of our social media handles, which are Robert.
Oh, Death in Music. Everything's Death in Music. Twitter's at Death in Music. Facebook's Death in Music. What else? SoundCloud is actually Doc Rob. But, yeah, we have stuff out there. Most of it's just Death in Music to keep it simple. And I'll put some polls out. And get some votes on what we should do our next episode on. Oh, and yeah, as Lizzie said, David Bowie is still posthumously releasing music like Prince, like Tupac, like Biggie. The music's still just coming out for some reason.
All right, I gotta hit the road on this one, but I just want to thank everybody for checking in another week of this week's Death in Music. I'm your co-host Ellie, and see you guys next week, man. Follow all of our shit. Our website should be up pretty soon. SSTsunami.com for all recording and marketing and all that shit. So, thank you very much. Bobo, I will talk to you later, brother. All
right, thanks for being on, man. And everyone, thanks for watching. Have a good night,
Mazzy, thank you, brother. And Liz, always a pleasure, sweetheart. Thank you.
Thank you guys for the participation. Everyone else in the chat, thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate it, and we hope to see you next week.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Have a good one, guys.